School of Forestry and then the College of Forestry and Conservation. Very supportive of the wildlife program through time. About 2 years ago now, he became the provost, and so he continues to do wonderful things for the wildlife biology program. Very proud.
Thanks, Dave. I had a bunch of things that I was going to remark on. He said most of them, but that's okay. I mean, there's a couple of other things. I mean, I had the pleasure of working with people in this program for 15, 16 years, and all the time, one of the pleasures I had is continuing to reappoint Dan as the director of the program 5 or 6 times, and that was actually a pleasure. I'd get a recommendation from the faculty, and the next thing we knew, we had him for another 3 years, and then another 3, and it was great. This is a program that is clearly outstanding, but it is never, in the time I've been here, rested on being outstanding within the university. It's a program that every year is trying to do better than it has in the past, and that's why it's an exemplar of the kinds of programs we like to have at the University of Montana, because the people that have been in this program, both on the side of the College of Forestry and Conservation and on the DPS side, and then I should use the word both, and on the Cooperative Wildlife Unit perspective on this triangle that we have in this whole program, they're all working to get better and better and better every year. And one of the fortunes that we've had from an outstanding faculty from back to what did you use, 36, and continuing to build on that over the last few years. The world-class people that we have been able to bring to this program are just astounding. And if you haven't been around the university very long, recently anyway, to find out how good the people are, you just have to interact with some of them. They are doing amazing things, publishing in amazing places, and they are helping students learn the latest and the most relevant information about wildlife biology, and how that fits into the world. So I'm gonna be real short here in my comments and simply say we have had outstanding leadership, we have had outstanding faculty, we have had outstanding students. The best in the nation have been in this program, and we have had outstanding staff supporting all of this program. When you put those 4 groups together, and you've got a program that's really at the top of the heap. One of the very best wildlife programs in the nation. One characteristic that they have that I know they lead the nation on is that the faculty and graduate students in this program have, over the last few years, received more awards and more recognition than any other wildlife program in the United States. They are at the top of the Anybody wants to question me about that, I can dig out the data on that. So I've got that down very well, but it's important. So I'm just here to say, thank you to all of you, the alumni, the students, the faculty, the staff that have been involved in this program, and have a great celebration as we go through the rest of this afternoon, because it is really a celebration of 75 or 76 years of an absolutely outstanding program that has been a signature program for the University of Montana. So thanks very much.
I want to recognize our alumni here today, because one of the things that we do in the program every 5 years is we send out a questionnaire to the most recent 5 years worth of graduates. And we ask them what they got here that they particularly appreciate, what they wish they would have gotten here. And one of the things that was pointed out a number of years ago is people felt that an experiential learning requirement would be important. And so we incorporated that into our undergraduate curricula, and all of our undergraduates now, because of you folks responding to those questionnaires, go out and get summer jobs with agencies. They work in research projects. Our faculty are great at hiring students to get involved in the summertime research. The Dean of the College of Forestry now is Jim Birchfield. Jim was a longtime Associate Dean, and before that, the Director of the Boley Institute here on campus. Before that, he worked for the Forest Service. Jim Birchfield is another one who's been very supportive.
Thank you, Dan. Well, I will also be brief, and I must say it's a tremendous honor to be associated with a program that is so nationally recognized and so integral to being in Montana. To be asked to be Dean of the College of Forestry and Conservation is kind of like being asked to be coach of the Miami Heat. You know, you've got some players. It makes things a lot easier for me. And probably the star of the show is this gentleman right over here, Dan Fletcher, who has led this program. In 1997, he created a PhD in fish and wildlife biology. He brought together this outstanding faculty. And I want another round of applause for Dan Fletcher. You know, I have some facts and figures about the program, and I won't bore you with them. It's just a couple of things that you should know. Our faculty produce over 4 peer-reviewed publications each year, each faculty member. We bring in over $4.5 million of sponsored research each year just to our wildlife biology program. We had 362 undergraduate students in 2011 just in our wildlife biology program, the biggest program in the college. Some of the most motivated students, not only in the GLI, but in areas of work in Montana and across the world. The focus that Dan and the faculty's created towards experiential learning is something extraordinary. I know it's a priority for me because working on real problems is what inspired me, and I know it will inspire our students in the future. And I'm grateful for all the effort that Dan, especially, here's another person we've just got to recognize, Jeannie Franz, who is actually... What impresses me the most about the faculty and the staff in wildlife biology is their attention to the students. I mean, here they are, these outstanding scientists doing all this work, and they always take the time to focus on students. Every time I've been in Dan's office, I have to wait in this queue of students so that they can have their time, and that's perfectly appropriate. And the other faculty members make sure that they give them the personal attention that they deserve, and I'm deeply grateful for that kind of focus. So, happy birthday, Wildlife Biology Program, 75 years old. My only advice is never act your age.
The Wildlife Program has changed a bit since a lot of you graduated from the program. It was a very male-dominated program for a lot of years. Our undergraduates right now are 45% women, graduate students 56% women. Our students come from 37 states, 8 countries, 65% out of state. So we're attracted to people from all over the place. Charlie Janssen is the Associate Dean of the Division of Biological Sciences. He's a ecologist, biologist himself, and he is in charge of the DBS side of the wildlife program.
So we should really dance together because this is truly a partnership between the College of Forestry and the Division of Biological Sciences, and really we couldn't possibly make it work unless we both were full-fledged participants in the program. It's been absolutely great working with Dan. I'm definitely the babe in the woods in terms of experience with the program here compared to all of you. I've only been here since 2007. But one of the things that attracted me to come to the University of Montana as the Associate Dean was this really quite unique blend of basic and applied science that crosses divisions, crosses units, and that is truly very integrated and very real in the faculty. People have, on one hand, they address the most basic questions of biological science, but always with the idea of, well, how can this be used? How can this be of practical use to Montana, to the world, to address real questions in the environment? So it's been really a wonderful experience to work together with Dan to move that forward. And all I can say is I predict that the next 75 years will be just as great as the last 75 years. And I hope to be able to continue working with Dan and his successor or successors for as long as I'm around to help achieve them. Thanks so much.
75 5 years is a long time, and I would like to take this opportunity to ask all of the retired wildlife faculty members, of whom there are quite a few here, if you would stand up and be recognized. Jim Habeck is in the back of the room. Thompson was our Boone and Crockett professor for 10 years. Markham, one of our faculty members who worked on elk up in Chamberlain Creek and a variety of other places. Bob Green, most of you realize that he was on our faculty for, what, 28 years. And now he is the chair of the Montana Fish and Game Commission. Here's Fred Allendorf, world-class geneticist, especially with fish, is a member of our faculty. I don't know who this guy is. No, this is Chuck Jonkel, who I think has probably had more graduate students than anybody else in the history of the program. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Mike Thompson. Mike is the wildlife manager for Region 2, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks here in town, and he tells me he has something he wants to say.
Yeah, I kind of crashed this, I guess. It got lonely. Well, actually, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks is not composed of the ingrates that might be rumored. Actually, we have a soul. And it has occurred to us that we wouldn't be very far if it wasn't for the University of Montana Wildlife Biology program. And in fact, many of us are it. With the future kids that we became in the future. And so many of us are alumni. In fact, I was pondering this in bed one night.